Hi, one SBR Sports Fix. I'm Peter Loshak. His name is Mike Brenner. We're the odds couple. Today's Monday, October 3rd, and the MLB postseason is here, right, Mike Brenner?
Baby.
It starts tomorrow with the first wild card game, and we have futures odds that we're going to discuss right now. I'm going to quote futures odds from Heritage, but you can if you shop around, you can get futures odds. Definitely at
Line
Pinnacle.
shopping.
You know, line shopping when it comes to futures odds is particularly important.
Very
because
important.
The spread in football is market sharpened,
Yep.
but futures odds can vary
Bounces
quite
all over the
significantly.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from book to book. All right, so no surprise, the favorite.
No, you know what though, Pete? When
What?
I looked at this list, I said, wow. There's not like a whole lot of oomph in there. I mean,
Yeah, well, there's some of these teams that we were pretty down on, like San Francisco in the playoffs. The Mets, had a lot of holes. Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now, no surprise though, the favorite you picked. It seems like you picked the Cubs every other day or 3/4 of the days during the regular season, and cash with them a lot more often than not.
Yeah.
The Cubs are the favorite right now at
Yeah,
Heritage.
they're going to win the whole thing. I
think
still
so?
feel it, and I felt it in the beginning of the year. I said, Pete, this manager, this is the year. The curse is over, and I have not gone back on that whatsoever because I think even if the pitching, which has some holes in it, all right, I think their bats and their depth is just really going to, and momentum is just going to take over.
At Heritage right now, they're plus 235. You can maybe shop around and get them at 5-2. Now, from a betting perspective, by far the best team in baseball this year was Texas. They wound up the regular season at plus 15%.
Without good pitching.
That means that if you bet on Texas every game, your total amount, you would have won 15% of. That's a lot of money,
That's
Mike.
a nice little bankroll at the
So
end
if
of the
you
year.
bet, $1,000 a game, that means that maybe you would risk $200,000 total. You would have made $30,000 just blindly betting on Texas every game.
And they're doing it without great pitching. They're like ranked 24th or 28th in the league in ERA. So they have deep bats as well.
So they are about 5.5 to 1, tied with Boston at about 5.5 to 1, who really came on strong in September.
That's that team,
and then the
buddy.
Nationals at 6 to 1. They're kind of banged up.
I was a little puzzled there. I was thinking Nationals about plus 1,400 or plus 1,000.
Yeah.
I don't think they're worthy of what they got there.
So and then you got all the other teams, including the 4 wild card teams. So what do you think, Mike Brenner? Is any value to be had here?
Well, I think there's Boston. I think Boston is my dark horse to come through because I think they're going to give Texas all they can handle. And that bad pitching against that team, especially when they go to the Green Monster, I think Texas might be in trouble if that matchup, does develop. But the Cubbies, I just think they're going to stay focused. And again, Pete, you know it. I love the emotion part. And Madden has really gotten into these guys' heads. He's letting them know we are the best. We're the best in the whole in MLB. We're going to get it done this year. And I think everybody's just going to step up to another level. I love the Cubbies in here. I mean, I literally am probably going to put with probably about 5 dimes on this.
You
and
think
I'm not
so?
exaggerating.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you want to add it on to your official Major League Baseball record?
I want to add it on. I want the Cubbies. All right.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. Right now at Heritage is plus 235, but you can get a little bit of a better line, I think, at Pinnacle. So we'll go check and give you the Pinnacle line right after this
We'll
call.
do Pinnacle. I'm going for it. I think this team will be focused, and I think they just have enough on their bench more than any other team here. Now, there's one also that you better look out for, and that's Toronto, because they might, even though their bats were, they have tendencies to go on some good hot runs.
Sure.
That's just one of those cautions, and I saw them at plus 1,400.
Yeah, and here's the thing I'm thinking about. Toronto's playing Baltimore in the wild card game, and that seems kind of coin flippy. I'm thinking now, Baltimore, I know that their bats were slumping at the end of the year. They were a sluggish team, but I feel like they do still have talent in that lineup. If they can get by Toronto in the wild card game, they might be a good bet, not to beat the Cubs, but to get to the World Series. They're 10 to 1 to get to the World Series.
Pete, that's a nice little dark horse there. I like that because, again, it comes down to managers, and for me, and I just think Bucky Showalter is definitely going to outmanage Gibbons. I just think he will, and I really like the fact that this team's been quietly getting it done towards the end, and they have that lineup. I mean, Adam Jones, Wieters, we could go on. This team is real. Machado. So
can they get by Texas though if they beat Toronto?
I think the right right hitting team can, Pete, because of that pitching is definitely suspect.
And I'll tell you what, in September, not that this is just something to be aware of, right? Out of all the teams here, Texas, of course, plus 15% on the year, but in September they were only minus 3.5% ROI. They were actually losing. The best team in terms of ROI out of all these teams was Baltimore in September at plus 18%. Even the Cubs were just minus 2.5% ROI in September. And Boston was plus 14% in September. So they were.
Boston's that team you better look out for, because when you work on a motivational and you got an emotion going on, Big Papi, this is his last year. Don't tell me, nobody can tell me that Boston doesn't want to win it for him, okay? And they can get their 4th World Series in this millennium. I'm telling you, that is my dark horse. I'm going to put a couple dollars on Boston.
And here's
what is Boston to win the AL?
To win the pennant.
No, the AL pennant, to go to the World Series.
To win the pennant, at Heritage we have plus plus 240, but again, we can probably go to Pinnacle and get you a little bit better.
I'm gonna make that official. I'm going
Okay.
Cubbies to win plus the 235.
Right. And Boston to win, to get to the World Series.
Get to the World Series
Okay.
plus about 240.
And you know, one of the ways that a lot of pros like to bet is they like to take no bets at big favorite lines, and these are exactly the kind of things. One thing that caught my eye, Cleveland to not make the World Series, minus 460. That might have some value there.
Wow.
Cleveland, I mean, they'd have to get by Boston,
Yeah.
and then they'd have to get by, Texas or the winner in that one. And, minus 460 might have some value there.
It might,
right,
it might, and anything in the AL is possible
Yeah.
because that little run, that little hot spot in Cleveland, they got the talent there.
You think so?
No,
It's a
that's
tough one.
interesting.
It's an
though.
interesting one.
That number's just got me
It
shaking
is an
my
interesting
head.
one. It's a big favorite line. All right, so let's finalize. And then in the National League, the Cubs. How about the Cubs at plus 110 just to make the World Series? What do you think about that? I mean, is that worth a shot? What do
Of
you
course,
think?
I think I just added another one. Cubs to make the World
I didn't
Series
want to. At
plus
plus 110,
110. I got the
we'll
Cubs
give
to
you-
win it plus 235, and I got Boston just to make it to the World Series plus
I mean, the
240.
Cubs will either be playing the Mets or San Francisco. Is there any way that
I don't
one of
think
those
any of
teams-
them can give them any.
And then they'll play either Washington or the Dodgers. I mean, it just feels like that's all they
And
got
this
to
is
do.
where Madden has to keep his team
Yeah.
focused and balanced, okay? Not let the highs be too high and the lows be too low.
Mm-hmm.
Look out, Cubbies gonna break that spell, baby.
All right, so you're adding all those picks. I guess.
Three.
I guess
I'm
I
adding
should,
3. Yeah, why don't you
I
throw
guess-
about
I guess
5
I
or
should
10 on
add, I
there?
guess I should add something here. I guess I'll add. What do I want to add? I don't know. This is kind of a tough one. I'll add Cleveland minus 460. No, to win the American League pennant.
Hey, you
And
never know.
If it loses, I'll have to add all those negatives to my official record. And to win the World Series, God, I would have to say the Cubs have the best value, but I don't know if I want to bet
I like it. That's worth the risk. I think the bookie's going to be losing some money on the World Series.
All right, just to make it fair, I'll also take a big dog. I'll also take Baltimore at a little bit better than plus 1,000.
It might be sharp.
To
That
make,
might be
to
real
make
sharp.
not to beat the Cubs, just to make the World
Yeah,
Series.
I like that one. Kind of.
All right, Mike Brenner, interesting, exciting. We'll be back very soon for all the game-by-game coverage of the MLB playoffs starting on Tuesday, right, Mike
That's
Brenner?
right. We will go Cubbies, baby.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.